Hello people, today I'm going to be ranking legacy versions of iOS. This only really includes ones that I've properly used. So you'll be missing iOS 2, iOS 4 and iOS 10. Let's get started. At number 1, at number 7, iOS 1. It's missing like every feature, like a massive chunk of features you take for granted. Copy and paste, folders, multitasking, copy and paste. What else was missing? Basically everything was missing from that. So yeah, screenshots, no notifications, so on so on. At number 6, it's iOS 7. Introduced a new design that I'm not really much of a fan of, like iOS 7 design. Activation lock, the main cause of e-waste. And yeah, not a great version that supports not much better, so on and so on. At number 5, iOS 3. It's like iOS 1, but it has copy and paste. Why did it take them that long to add copy and paste? I don't know, but it did. App supports, where it started to get fine, like you can get Temple Run, Flow Free, Tiny Tower, I think Angry Birds is on there, and so on. Yeah. At number 4, it's iOS 8. Why is it there? It's like iOS 7, except from it's got a nice default wallpaper. I'm not gonna lie, I'm honestly not that much of a fan of the iOS 7 wallpaper due to how much I've seen it. I mean, yes, I've probably seen other ones more, but I'm just fed up with iOS 7's default wallpaper. Whilst iOS 8 is probably like the best default wallpaper. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I use it on my iPad 1. So yeah, and it's kind of like more polished iOS 7. App support's still not like much better than even like iOS 6. Yeah, it runs fine. The Apple ID is a bit of a problem. I get spammed with Apple ID login things if I log in on iOS 8. So maybe I should put iOS 3 above it. I don't know. But yeah. Okay, on to number 3. I'm putting iOS 5. Why am I putting iOS 5 here? Well, it's like iOS 3, except from since then I know these weren't actually added in iOS 5. You've got multitasking, folders, stuff. iCloud was the big feature. Siri was also a bit of a big feature on the 4S. This thing that I initially tried to film this video on, but it ran out of battery. Yeah, when I'd consider starts to become a bit more of the modern end of legacy iOS. Mostly because that's how maths works. Well, I mean, technically it's still in the older half, but... Okay, on to number 2. iOS 9. The final version for like all the A5 devices that probably should have not got it. But, I mean, app support is really quite good compared to the rest because it's the newest one of the ones in this list. But yeah, the main things that they added was split screen, a feature that probably should have been in the iPad since the start, but no. Picture in picture, another feature that probably should have been there way more earlier. Such a useful thing, and I miss having it on my iOS old iPads. And, you know, also the fact that it's not on, like, iOS 12, to them, like, I was paying for him, maybe 15, I don't think it was 15, turned it on, like, iPhone. I mean, I'm not a fan of the default wallpaper. I kind of like the sort of slightly orange one, but I still don't really like that. I prefer iOS 8. Yeah. And if you can never believe it, number one, it is iOS 6. Why iOS 6 above the rest? Number one, it's the last version to have skeuomorphic design. It's really fast on some devices. Really fast. Well, it's quite fast on all devices. Use the iPhone 4S on iOS 6.1.3. You can easily downgrade it. Try it. It'll be like the best iOS experience you'll ever have. So fast, so smooth. Well, when you don't have like 170 applications and probably like over 100 tweaks, it is really fast. What else? So there's not really much features added. I mean, there's redesign in the App Store. What else? They had on iOS. I think on iPhones the music app actually changed on iOS 6. If not, it was 5. Either way, you get the point. Like the music player, I forgot to mention that in iOS 5, it made the music player something you'd really want to use, and I wish I could have the music player on desktop that looked exactly like it. Well, with the dark mode. There is kind of a dark mode in the what's it called? The iPad version. But yeah, I believe the new version was on iPhone and iPod was iOS 60, one on iPad, so iOS 5, maybe 4. I've not used 4 on iPad for the simple reason of it's a bit hard to find. But yeah, iOS 6, it's like iOS 5. It's better. It's got better app support. The only problems is that the Maps app doesn't work really. Siri doesn't work on 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 anymore. Maybe someone will find like the server for you and like. But yeah, iOS 6. Oh yeah, the wallpaper, it looks beautiful. I love it. I mean, the raindrops from iOS 4 is, you know, that and the iOS 6 wallpaper are really iconic. Probably because those are like the only two backgrounds that people cared about in the skeuomorphic days. Do you know what I mean? I mean, yes, you have like the iPad 3 wallpaper, and yes, you had the iPad 1 wallpaper, but like, come on. It's either of the raindrops or the waves from 4 or 6 that people associate with skeuomorphic iOS. Best version ever, iOS 6. It is honestly so good. I might be a bit biased due to the fact that I remember back in the day with my iOS 6 iPad mini, you know, when it was new, brand new. That is such an abstract concept to me, a brand new iPad. For me, when I was 10 years younger, mate, you know, as a birthday present. Like, ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And it was even the base model was 32 gigs. Like, yes, it's not the 64, and yes, it's not cellular, but still, come on. And, you know, you had the iPad 4 at that point as well. Absolutely absurd. iOS 6, so good, you won't lick it. Bye bye. My phone battery's gonna run out soon, so I better end this soon. Beep beep beep.